Hey, it's Mark here with Mark's Astro Journey. Orion is appearing in the sky visible from my location in the month of February, and something I hadn't really successfully imaged before is the Flame Nebula, and this has light coming from the star Alnitak, I think that's how you pronounce it, kind of lighting up the nebula. And this thing is about 900 to 1500 light years from us. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the imaging session goes and how the final image turns out. If you'd like to see what that process is like and see what the image turns out with my Skywatcher 100 ED APO refractor telescope, come along for the journey. Let's get started. Going to do a plate solve and resync on the Flame Nebula. I had already done a plate solve on a previous target, so this may not require much adjustment. Okay, so it was found to be so close that no adjustment was needed by the sync. So I'm going to up the exposure time to 2 minutes, and I'm going to switch to PHD2 guiding and start the guiding, and we'll see how this goes. Just about to complete our 2 minutes here. Then we'll see what our histogram. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Double check our guiding one more time. Still looking consistent. So I'm going to start a capture session on the Flame Nebula. It's 7:47, so I think I'm going to go for, if I went for 3 hours, it would be wrapping up right before 11. Then I could capture my darks and flats after that. I will go with 3 hours, and I'll start that off. And we'll come back and check in on this in a couple hours or so, just to see if everything's still on track. Guiding still looks about the same. Well, came to check in, and looks like guiding has stopped, so I think the mount reached the farthest it can go, and it's not set to do an automatic meridian flip. I'm going to stop this and also stop the capture. So now I'm going to capture some darks, and I'm going to go for 15 dark frames. The capturing of the darks has completed, so now I'm going to set up to capture some flats. So I'm going to reduce the exposure down to something like 2 seconds, and then we'll bring the gain down to get the histogram right, somewhere around 40. That's looking good on the histogram now. I have it at 1 second and 44 gain. So I'm going to capture some flat frames. I'm going to go with 200. This is only going to take a few minutes, so I'm going to speed this up. So now I'm in Astropixel processor. I'm going to choose my light frames, flat frames, and also the bias frames, and then the darks. And then once we have these chosen, we will set the sorting to quality and kick off the analyze. This will calibrate our frames and also determine the quality of the frames that were captured. Just checking in here on the calibrate and analyze phase. Everybody probably has their own way they like to do this processing, but even though the software ranks the quality and all of that, I like to visually look at the frames if there's not that many. I only have like 59 frames, something like that, 50 something. So I'm going to go through and remove the ones that have obvious issues where the mount was shaken by the wind, or at the end, you know, the mount would no longer move any farther and it stopped guiding properly. So I'll remove those and then clean the light frames to get rid of those before I do the stacking and integration. going to kick off the integrate phase, which will run the register, normalize, and integrate steps, and this will produce the image, the stacked image in Astropixel processor. Once I have the stacked image in Astropixel processor, I usually do a few more final tweaks here using things like black point on the right and these slider controls. Usually I adjust black point, maybe white point and gamma correction, enable the saturation, and maybe make some minor adjustments to the saturation to try to bring out the color in the data that was captured. But I usually then take it over into GIMP because I feel like I can do more fine-tuning type of adjustments to bring out the different data that was captured a little better. So here we can see the image as saved from Astropixel processor. So it's looking pretty good so far. I'll take this into GIMP now and do a little more refinement to try to bring out as much as we can from the data that was captured. So we'll open the file in GIMP and we'll do some adjustments here to try to bring out as much as we can from the data. I like to adjust the saturation a little, increase it. I like to see what the chroma adjustment does, as well as black level and exposure. And then usually some adjustments to the brightness and contrast are helpful. And this takes a little back and forth to try to get the image as clean looking as we can. And sometimes you might go back to something you've already adjusted to tweak that a little bit more. So once we have the adjustments made, I usually like to name the file with something like GIMP in the name, and then export it to formats like TIFF, PNG, JPEG. That way we have a few options once we've done our processing in GIMP in case one of the files we have some issue, it's too big for some other software or something like that. We have several options to work with. And then here's a nice look at the image after processing it with GIMP, and I think it turned out pretty good. Please leave a comment to let me know what you think after seeing the final image. If you enjoyed this video, you might also enjoy a video I did, a recent imaging session on the Seven Sisters or Pleiades, and it's a pretty cool target to image as well.